Mike, and today we're making pumpkin pie. And as I normally do, I try to cook things in my solar cookers when the sun is out. So we'll be cooking the crust and the filling both in solar cookers. But I'm making two pies. We'll make one pie using this fella, and we're going to make another pie using canned pumpkin. And then the idea is, does it make a difference? We'll do a taste test and find out. Years ago, I would visit my grandma Goldie and my grandpa Cecil. This is Goldie. Goldie was a really good cook, and she made great pies. She grew her own pumpkins and made her pumpkin pie from the pumpkin she grew. But we were at a county fair one time when Grandma leaned over to me and whispered, "Mildred uses canned pumpkin." To Goldie, that was horrible. But does it really make a difference? Over the years, my mom made pumpkin pie. I think she always used canned. I'm kind of doubtful as to whether there is a difference, but we're going to find out. So, shall we get started? These are the ingredients for the pie crust. We have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1½ teaspoons of sugar, ½ teaspoon of salt, 2 sticks of butter, and then 6 to 10 tablespoons of ice water. I've never made pie dough in a blender. I'm not a blender, but a food processor. It actually turns out pretty well. I do recommend it. The pie dough itself would normally be flattened into the disc shape, refrigerated for 1 hour, but I didn't have the extra time, and I needed the sunshine to bake the crust, so I skipped that step. After the pies were basically docked and ready, I also took some of the extra dough that was left over, and I made some fall leaves, which will become garnishes for the top of the pumpkin pie. Today we're going to be cooking the pumpkin pies in my solar oven. This is the All-American solar oven, which is called the Sun Oven. And it's been sitting here for a few minutes to warm up. Right now we're getting, what is that, about 300, a little over 300 degrees. We're going to cook the pies until they're golden brown. This is a little bit lower temperature than I would use in the house, but it works well. Our Southern California sun, and we have sunshine most of the year, allows me to cook using the sun most of the time. And so we're going to set this up. We'll come back and check on it a little later to see how it's doing. As you can see, I'm wearing my sunglasses to protect this. It's very, very bright around these reflectors. So we'll see how that does and be back in a minute. I had 350 degrees a little bit ago, but I didn't have it correctly aligned to the sun. So it'll get back up to 350 rather quickly. You see here, you use this little hole kind of as a guide, and to center that for the best alignment to the sun. And inside, the pie is on a cradle where it can swing back and forth when you make these adjustments and elevate the back or move it around. So it's been 40 minutes now, and the pies are ready, or this pie is ready to come out. As you can see, we're at 350 degrees. It's midday, great sunshine today. And so let's open this up. Got a little bit of moisture condensation on the top there. So the pie is ready to come out. We'll add our filling and then finish cooking it. And the little decorative fall leaves, which will become a garnish on the top, those are done as well. And we have another pie. To make our two. We can only do one at a time in the solar oven. And we're all set. Oops, I almost tipped it over. So, back in, Got good temperature. It dropped a little bit, about 325 from having it open. It will do that, but that extra 25 will come right back. Let's check on our sun alignment. I moved it a little bit earlier, so we are pretty much right on target. And we'll let this go and then see what we have. Get the second pie done. I cooked some of the scraps from the pie dough so that I had a way to test for flakiness and the flavor without having to disturb the pies. And it's absolutely delicious. I love the 100% butter. Fresh pumpkins were 50 cents cheaper than the canned pumpkin, so just a slight difference. This particular brand, Libby, had no preservatives and no coloring, but that's not always the case, so check the labels. Pie pumpkins are a little smaller than regular pumpkins. They have a firmer flesh, they're a little sweeter, and they're less stringy. The solar cooker pan I'm using is designed for solar cookers. It has a black outside which absorbs more heat. Solar cookers won't boil, but they do a great job of simmering. So this is how it turns out after being mashed. The one on the left is the fresh pumpkin, and the one on the right is the canned. I added a stainless steel cart for the solar cooker to sit on top. Makes it easier when positioning to the sun. It's quite easy to fold up and set up. The reflectors practically set themselves up because they're on springs. We have a few wispy clouds in the sky, but that shouldn't affect our cooking the pumpkin pies for today. The solar cooker does a really good job as long as you've got fairly strong sun. Our ingredients for the filling are really simple. The pumpkin, 12 fluid ounce can of evaporated milk, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, half teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves, and then 2 large eggs beaten. Mix it all up, pour it in, and out to the solar cooker. Well, even with the light clouding, we've still got almost 350 degrees, so we're about ready to go ahead and bake the pies. It is October, and so the sun is much lower in the sky. This is how you adjust the angle. It's on the back of the cooker. Right now, we are on the second to the last notch. But if it were July, we would have been way up here because the sun is much higher in the sky. Well, it looks like we'll come back in 30 minutes and see what we have. Well, it's been 45 minutes since I put the pumpkin pie into the solar oven. We're getting some condensation or steam on the lower part of the glass. We did reach 350 for most of the time that it was here, despite the clouding. And so let's open it up. So if I jiggle it, there's no movement to the inside or the center of the pie, so it does appear to be fully cooked. So we'll pull it out and cook the other one. Well, the pies came out great. I thought they were both good, and basically I gave them a tie. So sorry, Grandma, but ultimately, for all the extra work and all the extra dishes, I'll be using canned in the future. So I solicited input from some of my neighbors to find out whether fresh pumpkin used to make pumpkin pie, number one, or canned pumpkin in a pumpkin pie, number two, which one was better. Personally, for me, I thought it was a tie. They were both good. The fresh pumpkin on the left, number one, was a little bit lighter in color. The one on the right, the canned, was darker in color. Flavor was good on both. The real star for me was the crust. That 100% butter crust really stood out. But getting input from my wife and some of my neighbors, what did they say? Well, we had 6 votes all total. So for the fresh, we had 1 vote. For the canned, we had 1 vote. And then for the same, we had 4 votes. So really, it's a tie. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I am new to YouTube, so if you could subscribe or hit the thumbs up button, that would be greatly appreciated. Happy Halloween to everyone. Happy Thanksgiving coming up. And stay tuned for more videos about solar cooking.